everywhere. Remind us of your presence with us here and now, in trouble and in joy, at work or school, and at play, when we work and when we play and when we rest, and even to the end of time. Amen. So there are a lot of things in the Gospels, in fact in the whole Bible, that are difficult to understand. Why was David, the ruler of Israel, so good in so many ways and so awful in others, right? What was contained in the Ark of the Covenant? I mean, we know what Steven Spielberg thinks, but what was really in there, right? What exactly happened in Jesus' miracles? How did the burning bush burn and not burn up? Where did Jesus get all the ideas for his parables? Where did that all come from? All those sorts of questions. But the Ascension, as this event in our reading today is called, is one of the most mysterious to me. First of all, it's not described very well. I mean, you saw in the cartoon, it just sort of had a flash of light, right? That's a pretty good way of, okay, we don't really know what happened here, so boom, flash of light, it's done. It says, in one passage it says that Jesus withdrew from the disciples and was carried up to heaven. It almost sounds like he had some helium balloons or something, right? And he was carried up, shades of up. But what's that bit about withdrawing? Is he shrinking or something? I don't quite understand what that's supposed to convey. It's very confusing. But I think we can get the main point, that Jesus went away or vanished in ways that his disciples understood as miraculous. Remember that this ascension appears only in Mark and Luke of the four Gospels, and it's slightly different in Acts. It shows up in Acts, Acts is thought to be by the same author as Luke. John and Matthew, those two Gospels, don't talk about it at all. There is no ascension. And even Mark's version is believed to be a later edition. So this wasn't a standard part of the story, probably not until the books of the Bible were set, and the event was therefore included. So it was sort of a late edition. So why does the author of Luke emphasize this ascension? What would be the point of stressing the fact that Jesus isn't on the earthly plane anymore? I mean, part of the whole point was that he came back, right? That he was killed and he came back to life. But, why when he's not here anymore? So, I think there are a couple of reasons why it was so important to Luke. First of all, it explains why no one's seen Jesus for a long time. By the time Luke was writing, nobody had seen him for quite a while. So this sort of a literary purpose, this is why he's not around anymore. But I think there's a more important theological point. Remember that Luke is trying to open up the Jesus story to non-Jews, to people outside Palestine, to, in fact, the whole world, just as Jesus had told them to go and tell the rest of the world. So if Jesus is no longer on earth, then he's everywhere. Luke is allowing us to take in, to think about the idea that Jesus can be with us wherever we are, whenever we are. Jesus is no longer limited to what his earthly body did or could do. He's beyond time and space now, able to be anywhere and everywhere. And that includes with us. When I was very young, like many kids, I thought it was kind of spooky that God could see everything I did. I mean, I sort of thought, doesn't God have bigger things to worry about than whether I'm telling the truth about having cleaned my room? The Vietnam War, okay, and I'm dating myself, but Vietnam War, or the floods in Bangladesh, or hunger in Appalachia, or even healing people who were in the hospital. I mean, Then as I got older, I began to think of Jesus as a companion. A never seen but always present friend who, if I asked, could give me some good advice. Or even warn me against doing the wrong thing. Sort of a conscience or an alter ego, but always right there with me. But again, as I got older and learned a little bit more about life and so on, he didn't warn me about a few things, or maybe I forgot to ask, I don't know. But I had a theory that he could be present for me and the rest of the world too. I wasn't so self-centered, or maybe sort of aware that Jesus could be, in fact, everywhere. Right? At any rate, I eventually arrived at an understanding of Jesus' presence that is more comfortable for me now and makes a lot more sense. And I'm sure you each have your own understanding, but here's mine. I understand Jesus to be present with me through others. Family, friends, partners, congregants, colleagues, even writers and artists. Sometimes the advice is offered pretty plainly, and other times it's more obscure. When a path opens easily for me to do something, when something feels right, when it fits with my strengths, when it's satisfying, not necessarily easy, but satisfying, then that seems to me a sign or a hint that I should keep on doing whatever it is. But when there are roadblocks or difficulties, or I'm uncomfortable with whatever it is, then maybe I should not be doing that, whatever it is. For example, every time I walked onto the campus of my seminary, it felt right. I said, yes, I'm home. This is the right place to be. And it was like a sigh of relief to walk onto that campus. On the other hand, I was feeling more and more uncomfortable about my secular work. I could do it. It was in a way satisfying, and I could do it well, but it wasn't where I was supposed to be. And no, I didn't hear Jesus speaking directly to me, but divinity speaks in more ways than words. St. Francis of Assisi once said, preach the gospel. If necessary, use words. And there's the cliche that actions speak louder than words, too. It's a cliche for a reason. It's true, even if it's been repeated over and over. So there's a presence that is as strong as words. Grace and strength and hope and courage and mercy. Luke is telling us that we are not alone, even now, thousands of years later. How we recognize Jesus' presence with us will be different for each of us. It will depend on our needs and our background and our personality and so much more. But that he is with us is still true. The United Church of Canada's creed begins, we are not alone. We live in God's world. And I think that sums it up. I don't know of any better way to sum it up and to come to a conclusion about that. We are not alone. Jesus is with us in every time and every place. We live in God's world. Jesus is with us in all times, in all places, in all ways, and in all God's names. Amen.
Amen.